Tune in most days of the week, and he'll be there schooling some ignorant creep, or catch him on a gaming whim. But this ain't a game to him. You could be a Bradley's baddie too. You could be a Bradley's baddie too. So join Jovan and get your critical cap on. 'Cause there's a Bradley's baddie inside of me and you.
Holy shit. Long time no see, chat. Long time no see. And by long time no see, I mean like literally only a couple of hours. How are we? How have we been? How have we been doing? How was the last, what has it been? 10 hours since you last saw me? How have you guys been doing? Welcome to Jovan in the morning. We have Jovan after dark, and then this is Jovan in the morning, and then there will be just normal Jovan. Hey, let's go over a few of our opening whatevers. First and foremost, shout outs to the first people in Twitch today. That was Mealy Bun, It's Pillow, and Ferocity. Thank you for being first into the Twitch stream. Thank you so much. Shout out to B Spur for resubscribing for 3 months at tier 1. Thank you to Zoe Starwind for resubscribing with Prime. Thank you for Babs for resubscribing for her. Babs on a 46 months. That's crazy. Babs, that's crazy. That's actually unhinged. Transbot, thank you for resubscribing with Prime. Been here for 23 months. Nocturnal Mohawk, thank you for resubscribing with Prime for your 3rd month. And we have a birthday. Oh shit, we got a birthday party on my birthday with a birthday gift on my birthday. Happy birthday.
You could be a birthday.
This is Sylvie.
A very happy baddie birthday to you.
Shout out Sylvie for the birthday. Let's see what else we've got. Quantum, thank you for the super chat. It's a Christmas present, just a bank a boot. Okay, bank a boot is actually funny. We need a bank a boot. If this is your first time watching me, hi, my name is Jovan. I'm a leftist. I hate conservatism with a burning, fiery passion. Yes, I have Trump derangement syndrome. Fuck that motherfucker. Let's just talk about our topics today. First and foremost, trans men and women are men and women. Gender affirming care for minors. We brought that back after the House bill last night. I figured we bring that back up onto the board. Christianity is an untrue religion. I think this is the best way to phrase this. I think this finally gets me what I want in that phrasing. And then pro-choice and Trump is a joke of a president. If any of those topics, if you look at any of those and you're like, I disagree. I be disagreeing. Well, then why don't you call in 219-327-8005? Why don't you call in 219-327-8005? Call-in screener Pillow is standing by. Can we get W Pillows in the chat for call screening today? I didn't get my water. Let me go get water real quick. I've got a mighty thirst. My hair's getting long as fuck. Anybody remember when I first got this done? Shit is getting long as hell. Okay. Ugh. Hey. did y'all have for breakfast? I had a bowl of cereal. Coffee or tea? Neither. I'm a water guy. So let's see if we can get some conservatives to call in today. See what we get. I haven't eaten in 36 hours. I have a hot sick fever. Yo, low key, you want to know something about me? When I'm sick, I get fucking ravenous, dude. This last time I was sick, I was eating everything in sight. I was just my body was just so low energy. I was just eating. I'm definitely tired, that's for sure. They are scared. They might be. By the way, if you guys were ever like, oh my God, Jovan, I want to support your show. How do I do that? Well, Merry Christmas, Cash App and Venmo are in bio. USC Trojan, thank you for subscribing for 9 months at tier 1. Rain the Mancer, thank you for the bits. And Cynical One, thank you for the bits. I'm only gonna be here to see if we don't get calls, bro. I'm taking a nap. Straight up. Yo. I haven't really chatted about the Vanity Fair thing. I really am gonna be saving like political talk, like reactions and stuff for the weekly dump, and then we're possibly creating a new show where the weekly dump will be like news, and then we're gonna have a Wednesday leftist panel discussion that like rotates guests every week. People seem to like the panel discussions. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was the best movie ever. It was terrible, but also I got to see my boys, so it was cool. Oh, Trump's speech. I have yet to watch it, so I'll watch it today, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. But I just haven't watched it yet. Also, there must be a glitch or something. Instagram keeps sending me notifications about people I don't follow posting stories. So it'll take it's taking your people's followers and sending you notifications that they're posting stories. I have over 300K followers. So you can guess how annoying my phone has been today. I'm getting literally hundreds of notifications. I don't know if anybody else is having this glitch with Instagram. It's really fucking annoying. It's my favorite genre of music. I'm a theater kid, dog. I fuck with show tune and show tune accessories. But also, god damn, dude, you can't use Threads. Have y'all tried to use Threads? Threads is a fucking useless app with the amount of brain rot conservatives. And all of these accounts are fake, dude. All of these accounts are fucking bots. Threads is used. It's all bot accounts, bro. Even Jimmy Snow is a bot. Definitely Jimmy Snow is a bot. Jimmy Snow is the biggest bot of them all. Quote me on that. Clip this. Forrest isn't real. Maybe I'll ask him if he's real. I'll say, Forrest, chat doesn't think you're real. Truth? Truth? By the way, if you're watching on Twitch and you're not subbed, consider subscribing, bro. Consider it. If you got Amazon Prime, you get a free sub. Use that shit on me, dog. Show Twitch that y'all like leftist streams. Jovan OnlyFans when? Never. That privilege is reserved. About to get a cup of ice for my water. It's very warm. I don't know if you can sub with a Amazon free trial. I actually have no idea. I need the Forrest Jovan bird debate. It's just Forrest thinks birds are dinosaurs and he's wrong. Birds are not dinosaurs. I could agree that dinosaurs might have been a type of bird. That's as far as I would go. I could be persuaded to say dinosaurs were a type of bird, but birds are not dinosaurs. A pigeon is not a dinosaur. All dinosaurs were birds, but not all birds are dinosaurs. Otherwise, we would call them dinosaurs, but we don't. All toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads. Exactly! Wait, is that true? Have you been around a crane? I live in Florida. I'm around tons of cranes. All dinosaurs are birds. Not all birds are dinosaurs. Birds evolved from dinos. That doesn't make them dinos. Call in cowards. They never will. You guys can keep saying what you want. Dinosaurs are birds, but birds are not dinosaurs. I'm gonna die on this hill, dude. Mr. Pipe Dream, thank you for the 10 gifted subs on Twitch. Yo, can we get W's to Mr. Pipe Dream? D Lumps, thank you for subbing with Prime. Lord Richmond, thank you for subbing with Prime. Handsomest Robot, thank you for subbing with Prime. Over on Twitch, thank you guys. YouTube, thank you for the super chats. We read all the super chats at the end of the show. Sorry, usually I'm better at filling dead air, but I'm tired, dude. So I'm not the best at filling the dead air right now. Can't remember if I had a dream last night. You're telling me a hummingbird is a dinosaur? Get out of here. Did I watch Fallout 2's premiere? No, not yet. I'm sure I will. I liked season 1, and I like that we're going to New Vegas in season 2. Fill the dare with some freestyle rap. Traffic, looking for my chapstick, feeling kind of caustic. There's a Ford Maverick. See, that's $1 million song right there. Yo, shout out if you like goated if you know what that reference was. Sure, Jovan also believes Pluto isn't a planet. Is Pluto a planet? I don't know. I don't really care. Waffles are just edgy pancakes. Waffles are just pancakes cooked slightly differently. The batter is essentially the same from a waffle to a pancake. You can literally use waffle batter to make a pancake and pancake batter to make waffles, and they taste the exact same. It was Malibu's Most Wanted, yeah. Waffles are not way different batter. No, they are not. Literally make pancake batter and then put it in a waffle iron and tell me it does not taste. I've done it. Literally just tastes like a waffle. It's about the way it's cooked. I put eggs in my pancake batter, so. Not gonna lie, I kind of want waffles now too. Oh God. I'm not a fan of chicken and waffles. I don't understand the mixture. I don't want syrup on my chicken, and I want syrup on my waffles. I thought Pluto wasn't a planet because of its size. Extra egg for waffle makes it hold its shape better? What do you mean, hold its shape? What? I've made waffles without a single egg in it, and it is literally the same. No chicken and waffles, I need to unsub. So you're saying you're unsubbing from me for not engaging in a black stereotype? Crazy. Anti-black behavior. Just kidding. I don't like honey, so. Syrup on eggs? I like ketchup on my eggs. But I'm also usually a dry chicken person. I don't really like sauce. Opinions on crepes. If I'm gonna have a crepe, I'm just gonna have a pancake. Like, what is a crepe doing? It's just a fucking skinny pancake. A crepe is a pancake with an eating disorder. It's okay if I get canceled for that. Go ahead. Cancel me. Jovan, your food opinions are much worse. I've never claimed to have good food opinions. Never made that claim. It's okay, I've said way worse. Jovan is a vert. No son of mine will be a vert. What the fuck's a vert? Is that some of them, that there LGBTQ slang I've heard so much about? Dude, I eat like 4 things and I just rotate between 4 like safe foods. A bagel is just a donut that hasn't figured its life out. No, bagels and donuts are so different. You fry donuts, you boil bagels. Shit is most definitely culinary. I'm a foodie. That's fine. I just think most foods are disgusting. Hotcakes are just pancakes. Yeah, they're the same thing. All right, we got our first call. Who's ready to do this? Coming up to the show, we have Kyle. Now, Kyle thinks trans men and women are not men and women, so we're going to find out how Kyle justifies that. Kyle, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
Hi, my name is Kyle. I'm 30, and I guess you could say he, him.
Okay. Now, Kyle, you do not believe trans men and women are men and women. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and what do you base that belief off of? Is it based off of opinion, science, sociology? What do you base it off of?
I would say even the way that it's declared or phrased kind of contradicts itself.
How so?
Because if a trans woman was a woman, then why do you have to say trans woman? Why wouldn't you just say woman?
Oh, okay. So black women wouldn't be women as well.
No, that's a little different, I would think.
What's different about it? They're both adjectives.
Well, black is a race. Can I identify as black?
We're talking about adjectives. You don't identify as trans either. You just are trans.
I think people do identify as trans.
No, it's not an identity. It's just something that you are.
So when you stop or desist from that, you still are trans even though you no longer identify as it?
You wouldn't be trans because you are not trans at that point. If you've like detransitioned, if you've gone back, if you're like identifying now with your birth related sex, then yeah, you're just not trans anymore.
But a black woman can't ever stop being a black woman. That's just what she is. That's my point.
So you're saying adjectives can't be like an adjective can't really exist if it's something that somebody is temporarily?
An adjective doesn't make it true.
What do you think an adjective does?
I'm a handsome man, but that's subjective, and somebody might think that I'm not handsome. So I'm still a man, but I could be ugly, you know?
But we're not talking about the truth claim of the adjective. We're talking about if the adjective exists. Like your claim is that if I place an adjective in front of the word woman, then you're not actually a woman now because the adjective modifies the noun.
Not in all cases, but in that specific scenario.
Why in that specific scenario?
Because it's now being categorized as something other than a woman. It's a trans woman.
No, it just means that it is a woman who is trans. You're categorizing it as something that it's something else, but that's not how it's actually being used in the sentence structure.
And would that only qualify as far as gender is concerned, or
what do you mean?
Does that also work with biological sex?
Well, we're not talking about biological sex, are we?
So men and women are specifically gendered terms, in your opinion?
Not in my opinion. Just like in the English language, they would be gendered terms, not sex-related terms.
So sex is completely out of the equation when it comes to that?
When it comes to gender?
Gender and sex aren't intertwined?
Gender and sex have a linking. They aren't the same thing.
They're linked. That's an interesting way of phrasing it.
That's how that's how it's phrased in neurobiology.
And so I can understand, like, I'm not your average, I'm a conservative type caller. I consider myself more left-leaning libertarian, if that makes sense. But
okay.
There's a denial of reality that I find frustrating with topics like this.
What reality is being denied?
The difference of the sexes and us as
I'm not talking about sex. So what would be what reality am I denying if I'm not speaking about sex?
You said there's a linking.
Correct. That doesn't mean I'm talking about that thing. There's a link between cars and motorcycles. Those two things are linked. But when I'm talking about how much I like driving my car, I'm not also talking about motorcycles. Day and night are also linked. But if I'm saying I'm going to go to the play at the park in the daytime, I'm not all of a sudden talking about the nighttime, right? Just because two things are linked doesn't mean that if you're argument. Yeah. So just because two things are linked doesn't mean that if I'm talking about one thing, I'm talking about the other.
So what makes a trans woman a woman?
What makes a trans woman a woman is I believe that they are. Well, I believe that woman as in the way that humans have evolved in gender, woman would denote some type of linking between your gender identity, so your brain's subjective perception of your sex, and the link it has to the broader cultural gender roles.
So as far as like societal roles and how you interact and present to the world?
To a degree, yes.
Okay. Then I just think that it's interesting that it's very hyper-specifically only based in gender when it comes to whether or not it's based in reality. What
reality are you talking about? When we're speaking about gender and we're speaking about gender roles such as man or woman, these would be like socially created things. These are socially constructed categories that we place people into. There's no objective reality in a socially constructed thing. It doesn't exist mind independent.
Well, so as far as I know, it's something that a lot of people kind of take issue with, because if it was just focused like that in the discourse, I don't think there would be as much of an argument in that case. But when it comes to something like Title IX, and giving
Title IX is about gender.
Specifically,
Title IX is about gender, and since trans women are women, whenever Title IX mentions women, it would be including trans women into that. You're the one who thinks it's not about gender. So if that's the case, why would you would want to change what Title IX says, right?
No, I wasn't saying it wasn't about gender. I'm saying that giving women a protected space or their own grouping is kind of interfered by people identifying as them.
Trans women are women, so they would also be entitled to those same spaces. You're making a lot of Well, I would say the same to you. Saying that they aren't women doesn't make it true. You're just presupposing the argument. So you're saying, well, Title IX, this is bad for Title IX. That's you just adding in presuppositions without defending your claim. You would have to have the entire argument of are trans women first before you can even get to Title IX.
And could you steel man my claim as far as what you think I'm claiming in that context?
You're claiming that women deserve a safe space from men, and that trans women are simply just men pretending to be women. And because of this, they interrupt the safe space of places that Title IX dictates for women. It's a pretty obvious argument.
Yeah, and I would say not in all cases. I would think that it opens the door for people to take advantage of that loophole.
Yeah, I don't know why it had me steel man it when I was pretty consistent on the argument to begin with. But yeah, this is just
a clarifying question.
Yeah, you're just presupposing the argument. I don't do the presuppositions. You are presupposing and you're saying this is wrong because trans women are not women. I say trans women are women, so it's not wrong. So now we would have to have the argument about whether they're women or not. What was that?
Pizza bagels? There are pizza bagels.
Are you being incoherent right now? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm saying that doesn't prove logic.
You haven't made a logical. You haven't made a logical.
Something else.
You have not made a logical position about your argument yet. You just keep talking about here. Let's see how logical your position is. What's the necessary condition someone must have in order to be a woman? What is the necessary attribute they must possess?
I think you're denying how heavily linked sex and gender are.
I'm sorry. It's not the question I asked you. I don't really care about what we're talking about your position right now. Okay. So my question to you is, you're saying that trans women are not women. Therefore, woman is a category that is exclusionary. So I'm asking you what the trait is that someone must possess to be in that exclusionary category.
Well, there's a lot of traits that are typically associated with womanhood.
That's not what I'm asking. Because it's an exclusionary category, you must have a trait that you must possess, like what is necessary to be in that category. If there's no necessary traits, then it's not exclusionary. So anybody can be in that category.
That's a trap question, because anything that I'd mention would involve sex, and you're not willing to accept that they're more. You can
make a sex-based claim.
A semantic term.
You can. Hold on. This is such lazy arguing from your point. You can say that there's a sex-based condition that is necessary to be a woman, and then we can analyze it. But there has to be a necessary if those categories are exclusionary. If I have a square, right, there are things that this shape must have in order to be a square. And thus, the category of square is exclusionary, because in order to be a square, you have to have 4 sides, 4 right angles at 90 degrees, and 2 pairs of perpendicular lines. Those are required to be a square. You cannot be any of those missing. You're no longer a square. So what is that thing for the category of woman?
Excluding very rare cases.
You can't exclude.
2X chromosomes.
You can't exclude. Necessaries don't have exclusions. I can't say this is a square excluding this shape that is also a square but doesn't have 4 right angles. No, it's not a square. There are no exclusionaries in a necessary condition.
How many fingers do you have?
I have 10.
Yeah. So if you had 11, does that mean they aren't hands?
No, dummy, because I'm not making the claim that humans must possess 10 fingers. This is no, there is no rule, because there's not a Kyle. I need you to not be dumb right now. Nobody is here is making the claim. All you're doing is proving my argument. I'm not making the claim. It's not an ad hominem, because I'm still addressing your argument. It would just be an insult. So get your debate facts right, like use your phrases right. So again, I'm not making a claim that humans must possess 10 fingers. So therefore, if a human has 11 fingers, that's fine, because I don't think you need 11 fingers to be a human. So there is no exclusionary category that says in order to be human, you must possess 10 fingers. Nobody's doing that. So I'm asking you, and you're avoiding the question because you know you don't have an answer for it. You're claiming that woman is
you're going to gish gallop around it.
Nobody is. What does gish galloping mean?
That you're going to dance around the point and distract to something else.
Nobody's going to dance around the point. Nobody's going to dance around the point. Just give the necessary condition, and let's see if it holds.
2X chromosomes.
Okay, so women must possess 2X chromosomes, and they must possess a uterus. What else?
I would say that there's nothing that can't be adopted by a trans woman.
I'm asking what must be possessed. I'm asking what must be possessed in order for you to fit into. Great. So a woman must possess XX chromosomes and they must possess a uterus. So any woman without XX chromosomes and without a uterus, what are they? What would you categorize them as?
An outlier.
I'm asking what gender would they be? They can't be women because I'm asking you what gender they would be. They can't be women because you said they must possess these two things to be women. So what would these people be? Are they men now? If a woman gets their uterus removed, do they become a man? Intersex is not a category. It's a list of conditions that affect.
With the nature of having a uterus.
What does born with the nature of mean?
That you, just like you were born with the capability of being able to bear children.
Okay, and if you're born without that capability,
intrinsically in
if
your
you're born
DNA,
without that capability, what are you?
An exclusion.
So then what would your intersex is not a third category. It's a list of conditions that affects males and females. So I'm asking you, what gender would somebody be?
The hands. Just because somebody's born with an abnormality doesn't make them not what they are.
Okay, wait. So you are logically inconsistent here, and I don't think you understand what the word necessary means. So Kyle, let me ask you, what does the word necessary mean?
That it must be.
That it must be. So if I ask you for a necessary, am I asking for what must be except or unless, or what must be?
No, but you're
okay, beautiful. Nope, great. Nope. I'm glad that we got there. So if I say it's necessary for a square to have 4 sides, but here comes a shape with 3 sides, can I call that shape a square?
No, it'd be a triangle.
No, it'd be a different thing because it doesn't have what's necessary. So I need you to follow along. Like, keep up, buddy. It's not that hard. So necessary, XX chromosomes in a uterus. So let's say it's not semantics, dummy. We're having a conversation about language that is inherently a semantical conversation. So it's not semantics to talk about language while we're having a conversation about language. Keep up. I need you to keep up. I need you to do better than this. So XX chromosomes in a uterus are necessary. And as we've talked about, necessary means there can be no exceptions. So what do I do with a woman who is born with XY chromosomes, who not only has gotten pregnant but given birth? What are they? Are they a man?
You're using words to put me in a box intentionally.
I'm using words. Wow, whoopee! It's a conversation. How else? What else would I do? I'm using Kyle. What I'm doing is we're testing your logic. You've claimed trans women can't be women. The second you say there's a category and there are things that cannot be in that category, you have by nature made that category exclusionary. So we're trying to see. Nobody's excluding. No. I need you, Kyle. I need you to keep up. We should not be 15 minutes into this with you struggling to do this. There are 2 types of category distinctions in this world. There are exclusionary categories, and then there's familial or cluster categories. That's how all science categorizes things in these 2 veins. So either gender is women is an exclusionary category, or it's a familial category. Familial categories are not exclusionary. So it has to be exclusionary because you're claiming there are people that cannot fit into this category. If I have a category and there are people that can't fit into it, that means that category is exclusive, meaning it's exclusionary. Meaning in order for it to be exclusionary, there must be a trait that is shared by all of the things inside of this category and not shared by anything outside of this category. You have said those 2 traits are XX chromosomes and a uterus. So I'm saying here we have medical verified case studies of females that are born with XY chromosomes who not only have gotten pregnant because they possess a uterus and they possess the ability to carry a baby, but they've given successful births. Now, they do not have the necessary condition you claim, which is XX chromosomes. They have XY chromosomes. So what gender are they?
There's way too many individual facts or factors that would play into something like that. You're trying to simplify.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for making my point for me. Thank you for making my point for me, Kyle. The point is that human here. Thank you, Kyle. Nope. We see that you're going to shift the burden of proof onto me because you can't provide a logical argument. No. That's what you're doing. You're burden shifting right now because you can't provide a logical argument. But it's fine because you've already proven my point.
Make a claim that
you've already proven my point, Kyle. We haven't been talking about my claim. We've been analyzing your claim, and now you are floundering. And because you can't substantiate your side, you're shifting the burden. It's fine. We'll get to my position, but I just want to point out that you have completely proven my point, in which you said there are far too many things to be able to create a strict exclusionary category. That is the fucking point, Kyle, that human sexual development is way too, sorry, Kyle, I'm talking, Kyle, I'm talking, thank you. Kyle, I'm talking, thank you. Kyle, I'm talking. Of the nature of is stupid. Nature doesn't have a reason. Nature doesn't have a rhyme. Nature doesn't have a plan. There are no human blueprints.
That's ridiculous.
There are no human blueprints. Every single human, their DNA, their composition, it's all different. This is the whole point. Biology doesn't have a nature of. It doesn't say this is how something must be. That's why we have mutations and variations. That's why humans now are taller than they used to be. That's why we've lost certain traits that we used to have. That's why we stand up straight a little bit more, because biology is constantly shifting and changing. Now, my point being that in order to say that a woman is based on some sexual feature is impossible, because human sexuality is too varied to create a strict exclusionary category. Instead, human sexuality is scientifically, this is biology, by the way, it categorizes sexes under familial categorization. Specifically, there are 5 traits that are categorized when it comes to sex. Now, if we want to talk about my position is that a woman is any... Oh, sure, we can stop. We can talk about your position more if you'd like, Kyle.
Well, just you saying that being of the nature of something isn't rational and that there is no...
It's not logical.
...nature to that.
Correct. It would not be a logical position.
That is how all things that are living operate by. You might say that there's mutations, but yes, the current iteration has intention. How is it just happenstance or coincidence that about 50% of the population is born male or female?
Nope, it's not happenstance.
Isn't that intentional?
No, it's not intentional. No, there's no intention to nature.
So what would you consider that? It's just happenstance?
It was evolutionary. Just the same way that there are creatures that do not produce sexually dimorphically and do not produce using 2 sexes, right? That just happens to be the way our species evolution line went. There is no intention. There's no outside force operating onto this.
It's all coincidence.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Coincidence that stems from billions of years. Yes, I don't care about your religious argument. I don't care that you think there's some outside force acting on. Not religious. You must be, because there's no outside force acting amongst biology to create us the way that we were created with any form of intention or plan. It is all quite literally happenstance.
I more so go from a grander point of view. Not religious, don't have religious views. If the rate at which the Earth was spinning or the rate at which gravity keeps us held down was slightly different, then we wouldn't exist. So there are things that do seem to have an intention to them, or else it wouldn't
not intention.
Be the case.
That's not intention. Earth just got lucky enough to be in the hospitable zone, right? There's plenty of other planets in the solar system that exist. There are plenty of planets in the rest of not the solar system, but the rest of the universe that exist in a hospitable zone. Earth is not the only one. It's the only one we know about. I'm sorry, it's the only one we live on. It's the only one we found life on, because we can't go and look at the life on those other planets, right? That doesn't mean anything. Mars used to possess fucking, as far as we know, Mars used to be covered in water and most likely had life on it at some point. This doesn't prove anything. I'm more
talking about the fabric of being, the fabric of the fact that we're even able to have this conversation right now.
I don't agree. I don't believe in a fabric of being. I believe that
way luckier than
what? I believe the universe just is. There is no intention to it. There's no intention to anything. Humans like to see patterns, and because we see patterns, we like to parlay a certain level of importance to those patterns, but they're just coincidental patterns.
So would you consider yourself like the nihilist?
No.
Then what matters?
I matter. The rest of the people on this planet matter. My loved ones matter. Just because I don't believe the universe has intention doesn't mean I believe that we don't matter and we might not have like a strict universal purpose, but it doesn't mean that we don't matter in the context of which we live.
Yeah, that's just interesting. I was just trying to get where you're coming from on your viewpoint as far as everything is coincidence. Is that how you would kind of phrase it?
Sure. We're all some product of some massive cosmic coincidences. We were lucky enough that the Earth got hit with enough force that it moved into a hospitable zone. We got lucky enough that the sun is at an age where it doesn't burn us alive yet. We're lucky enough that we have one moon that controls our tides in a way that we've been able to predict and fish and live on. We're lucky enough that we haven't gotten hit with a goddamn asteroid yet. All of this is luck.
Right. And the way that cells function and genes mutate and all of that's unintelligent.
100% it's unintelligent. What do you think? That's how what do you think cancer exists? You think an intelligent creature created cancer? Most of us have cancer cells in our body. It's just our body fights it off well enough. But then the ones that don't, they get tumors.
We also have tumor suppressor genes. So there seems to be an intention and an opposite.
It's not an intention. Our bodies have just evolved to deal with these things. It's not intention. It's actually the exact opposite of intention. Our bodies have gone through iteration after iteration after iteration after iteration to get to this point. And we're not even at a full point yet where our bodies have evolved to a spot where we're not dying after fucking 80 years. Constant. Yeah.
So
that's not intention.
Evolution a process?
Yes, evolution is a process, yes.
Okay, then I just find it interesting that a process can be set up and put into motion without there being intention behind it.
And most processes are put into motion without intention.
On that, but can you name me another process without intention?
All of them. Anything that doesn't come from a mind was created without intention. Intention would be mind dependent. So if you weren't created from a mind, you have no intention. There was no intention in the Grand Canyon. Just happened to be where water ran through and cut through the rock enough places. There's no intention in mountains. There's no intention in rocks. There's no intention in the water cycle. There's no intention in any of these things because they're mind independent.
Okay. So something as simple as body parts. Is it just based out of survival in your opinion? The reason, and then I'm circling back to something here, but the fact that we have fingers or that we have reproductive organs, there's
evolution.
That just is because it had to be.
Yes.
And that always was and always will be.
Nope, wasn't always because we mutated to be this way. We didn't used to be this way.
As far as the process.
Yes, the process is also always ongoing. In a couple thousand years, 10,000 years, 20,000 years, who knows how long, we won't look the same. And we'll look back at ancient humans and be like, damn, we look kind of different. If we move to a planet with lower gravity and we find a way to live on this lower gravity planet, our bodies are probably going to look drastically different after a couple of generations because that's just what happens. Your bodies, through generations, evolve to be able to live in whatever climate you're living in.
Right. And I know that you get the impression that I'm some dumb guy, but you don't have to explain things like that to me. I'm aware and I'm a deep thinker, but I was just trying to get to your reason for thinking that, like you say, 20,000, 30,000 years in the future, what was 8 trillion years in the past?
I don't think there was. I don't know. I don't know how old. I don't know how old the universe was. So 8 trillion years ago, we probably would have been in the hot, dense state where all matter in the universe was just condensed into a fucking finite ball of energy.
They say the Big Bang was about 14.7 billion. So before that, there was no process.
I don't know what was before that. I operate under the idea that the universe is cyclical. So prior to the Big Bang, I think there would have just been another universe that hyper condensed into a black hole and boom, boom, boom.
What I'm trying to say is, boom. I can think on a grander scale as far as, yes, eventually everything spreads out, more black holes suck everything in, goes back to a singularity, we restart on a version 3.0 or whatever. But there is so much complexity to that I find it interesting that it's all, in your opinion, just is and always has been that way without, I understand the not wanting to lean towards the religious thing. I just simply acknowledge that there is intention and complexity to more things than you might want to
I don't believe the universe is mind. I don't believe the universe is mind dependent. So I don't believe there was an intention to any of this. I don't believe any independent mind began the universe process.
So would you say that objective means, or can be kind of clarified or defined as something that exists without a mind having to interfere or even be involved?
Yeah, subjective would be mind independent. Subjective would be mind dependent.
Right. So the way that we're talking about the construct of gender, I think I'm more coming at it from what would be without my opinion getting involved. What is objectively segregated into categories, not what my opinion or my perception of what somebody's category would be.
You're trying to claim that there are objective categories in relation to subjective things, which I just don't agree with. If we're looking at men and women, those would be subjective categories that are created amongst humans. So they're socially constructed things. There can be no objectivity to social construction. Those categories can change whenever we want them to change because we created them.
So can something be subjectively true?
Yes, there are subjective truths. There are truths that are subjective.
Aren't those kind of just opinions?
Correct.
Okay. Then it's your opinion that trans women are women.
Correct. That's what we would be arguing about.
Yeah. And I'm saying my basis is from more of a concrete.
No,
you
it isn't.
Try to break it up into
your basis on what trans women are have no
four sides.
Your basis on what trans women are has no
They're
it has no. It has no basis in logical or scientific reasoning. It's just your feelings. At least I'm basing my feelings on scientific and logical reasoning. No, I'm basing my feelings on scientific and logical reasoning.
Brain scans of there are males that their brains are structured and function more like a female brain would. Like that's what I'm talking about. So there's too many factors and there's outliers to something that has the nature of being. And that's where we fundamentally disagree, is you don't think there is a nature of being X or a nature of being Y.
Yes, you can't prove. Yes, because you can't prove the opposite. You have no evidence for the opposite. It's just something you believe. It's fifis.
And wouldn't that be all right? Let's get in more into your claim real quick then, because what would your proof be that mine isn't providing?
What would my proof of what be?
That trans women are women, besides a subjective opinion. Because
I look at the way that humans engage in gender, and I notice that the way humans engage in gender is not a strict biological binary, and instead gender is more of a cultural and social dictation. And when I look at this and I see the way that trans women fit into that cultural and social dichotomy, they absolutely would fit into the side of women. The only argument against them is that they are biologically not female, which isn't true 100% of the time. So if this is the case, why would I not? Why would I treat them as anything but women?
I mean, again, I think that's an opinion. All of the things that you mentioned were based off of your perception.
Nope, it's based off of observed sociology.
So it's a sociological thing.
Yeah, it would be a culture and stuff is sociological, yes. But we can also look at the biological. Neuroscience also reaffirms that humans have a gender identity. It's just something that exists within our brain, specifically in the hypothalamus. This is a trait that we all possess. And neurobiology has also seen that gender identity can lean one way or the other. And so we also affirm it on a scientific basis as well. Unless you disagree with neurobiology.
When it comes to, so you would say that it's a spectrum.
What's a spectrum?
Gender?
Yes, I would consider gender.
I'm talking about leaning one way or the other.
I would consider gender to be a bimodal distribution model.
Okay. So similar to like how we can phrase the light spectrum as far as from black and all the way of that in between to white, or like the hertz spectrum of music, how your ear hears from 18K to about 80 to 20K, depending on your range. Like you have a baseline on either side.
Yes, it would be a spectrum with two distinct peaks, and those peaks would be male and female,
And
or
I
man
think
and
that's
woman
a lot
if you
of
want to
people's
talk
issue,
about gender.
or with it, is the in-between can't be defined like colors or hertz right now. A lot of it is just, we might be in the very early stages of it, but it seems to be very self-identified or not based on anything besides
Humans self-identify things all the
unique
time, so I don't know why they have trouble when it comes to gender doing that, but they don't have trouble doing it with like almost anything else. Just seems like a cop
Or
out.
what's another example?
Sure. Do you love somebody?
Or of a self-identification? Yeah.
Yeah. What is love?
It's an innate and intrinsic care for someone else, that you want the best for them. Like that's a subjective opinion of mine.
And how do I know that your innate and subjective care, how do I know that that is love if it's not the same innate and subjective care that I have?
It doesn't make it not love.
There you go.
I'm being intellectually honest with you.
No, I'm saying there you go. Now just take that same concept and apply it with gender. It's the same thing. Gender is an innate, it's an identity. So it's the way our brains innately identify themselves. And just because somebody else's might not be the same as yours doesn't mean that their innate identity and expression isn't as valid as yours would be.
And that's all I was saying, is that I think that's why it's hard or for society to accept, or that's why it gets argumentative, is there is no definable in-betweens like there is from black to white or from 18K hertz to 20 hertz. We can pinpoint those and study them and see that they're things that are there. With where we're at right now, there's so many different, almost conflicting, or things that go against what somebody else might feel, but it's all accepted under the same umbrella as being valid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would just, again, my point is that humans do this with a bunch of other stuff, and they should just get with the program and do it with about gender too. We do it with emotions. We do it with the feeling of love. We do it with friendship. We do it with a lot of things. We do it with any identity that is internal based. People do this. They have no problem doing it. Right?
How do we identify then at that point what is beneficial or harmful to society?
Well, we would use that based on just looking at like different societal metrics and seeing like what does or does not increase or decrease. So like harmful is very subjective. So I'm going to be looking at what leads to the most preferences, while the most good in terms of someone's preferences, while limiting the most harm that comes from said preferences.
Right. And so that's why I've brought up, I didn't want to come into this thinking that I agree with your number 5 like crazy. Trump is definitely a joke, but I wanted to bring the libertarian element into it because I'm not somebody who cares about what grown adults do in the comfort of their own home or how they operate in society, as long as it's not harming or affecting the general populace. And that's what I mean by how do we define, or how would you seek out and stop the bad actors? Just by observation?
Bad actors in what regard?
Like a creepy 45-year-old identifying it's his or hers, for the sake of the argument, objective or subjective reality that they need to use the women's locker room. And there are...
Stopping trans people wouldn't stop that person.
But I'm saying that there are intentions behind that are bad. So if our thing is...
Stopping trans people wouldn't stop that person from doing that, though. So why would I punish a large group of people to try to prevent somebody from... So then what are you saying?
I'm saying, how do we identify bad actors if it's all just based on how somebody identifies themselves?
You can't identify bad actors until they've done a bad action. That's just in general, like everything.
And see, that's harmful. because
what
you're
do you think?
allowing
What do you
harm to
are we
happen.
going into the Minority Report here? You want to punish people before they commit a bad action?
No, I'm saying in theory, if you were to wait for that to happen, then by letting somebody identify as that thing that they really weren't, they were just being a bad actor.
Again, you can't punish a bad actor before they commit a bad action because you don't know they're a bad actor until they commit a bad action.
So there's no step that can be taken to.
We can't see the future. Should I remove everybody's guns to be sure that no bad actor commits a gun crime?
I mean, it's been tried in the past, hasn't worked out so well.
But I'm not asking if it's been tried. I'm asking you if that's something we should do based on the logic you just presented.
I don't personally believe so.
Okay,
No.
so then you recognize that we can't just like blanket demonize a group of people because some people in that group might be bad actors. We don't know who the bad actors are. So it's useless to try to like predict the future.
Right. I was more so bringing that up as that's why people have such an issue with it right now.
Sure, and I think it's an illogical stance
actor
to take. Yeah, I think it's an illogical stance to take.
If you set up a society where everybody is who they want to be outside of any objective standard, then I would suppose that will be abused more and more.
We already have that society where you're able to be whoever you want to be without some objective standard. We quite literally already have this society.
But it's not accepted as a form of dogma like it is currently.
Absolutely, it is.
That's one thing I love about the leftist mindset is they're so accepting and everybody can be accepted.
Wait,
literally.
it absolutely is done that way in the opposite regard. What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Utilizing it in some form of dogma, like asserting something as unquestionably true. What we constantly have this based on subjective means. Yeah, we have this in I would argue every religion is like this. What do you mean?
I was saying I appreciate how leftists are accepting of everyone when it comes to that. But the reason I use the word dogma is just as a heavily religious person, once somebody crosses a line as far as being the other, then they're not accepted anymore. And I've seen this happen a lot over
because I don't know about other leftists. I'm not accepting. I don't accept just everybody.
Wow. Then that's exactly what I mean in that case. Is that's supposed to be part of leftism.
No, it isn't. Whoever said that? Who made that claim? Who made the claim that leftists are just like by nature accepting? No, we accept things that people can't change. I accept traits that are like innate to people. So something like somebody's skin color or their like gender or their sexuality, things like these that they can't have no control over. Absolutely, I accept people for who they are when it comes to that. I don't accept people for belief systems they have a control in. Why would I ever do that?
Well, I just find that interesting because some people I know many religious people that were definitely born into it and I don't feel like are ever able to change their minds. I don't think it's their fault that they believe what they do. And I think we should be accepting of those folks as well.
I accept people who've been indoctrinated. I accept people who've been indoctrinated, but if they're unwilling to deconstruct, that's on them. It might be hard to do, but plenty of people have deconstructed. So.
Yeah, I would say that some people maybe aren't meant to. The cognitive dissonance would be too much and they wouldn't be able to function if they realized all their previous beliefs were just not true, you know? Okay, so I was saying that I've always assumed that your average leftist would say that they are really accepting.
No,
but that's interesting to hear you say that. But that's what I mean by it's become you're a bad person if X, Y, and Z aren't accepted in your opinion. Does that make sense?
You're a bad person if your ideology outwardly and purposely harms a group of people just because you don't like those people. And if the reason for your dislike is an illogical one, then even then more factor, you know.
So in somebody like a case like mine where there's no dislike or prejudice or an unwillingness to accept new facts. I just happen to think differently. Is thinking differently something that is under that umbrella as well?
If I believe that you're obstinate,
intention?
if I believe you're obstinate out of ignorance, I'll always teach somebody. If even after being taught, you can remain obstinate and you give a fee over facts argument, then yeah, no, I'm not accepting that. And I think that's just kind of dumb, you know?
Right. And I feel like we would make a lot more progress as a society if it turned into more of a acceptance back and forth. I hear why you think that way, but it's not true. This is why I think that way, but I don't see that online and in real life right now.
Should I accept when like a Klan member tells me that like black people are worse and black people are the blight of society and we're dumber and have lower IQ? And well, why not? It's just their opinion.
On top of hate doesn't make the world better.
But it's just their opinion. So shouldn't I accept them?
Well, on a basic human level, yes.
Why?
So I think that's part of our problem.
Why should I accept them on a basic human level?
In the other direction.
It can. You think the same thing can be said in the other direction?
Opinions,
I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. The same thing can be said in the other direction from the Klan members to black people?
I'm going back to this gender thing specifically. Mm-hmm. So if some ultra conservative, some Trumper says that these trans women in the sports are ruining sports for his great granddaughters, it's all going to be different then. They're going based off of they think that it's harmful what you're doing, so that hate in that direction isn't good either. And what we're doing is we seem to just be playing at
the paradox of intolerance. I understand the old transphobes pretty well. The paradox of intolerance is just kind of dumb in my opinion. But we've been talking for 40 minutes and there are other people on the line. So I'm going to move on to the next caller.
Okay. Stop messing with kids, please. Leave them alone.
We're going to say dumbass shit like that, deadass. Fucking idiots, dude. And this is why you get no sympathy from me. This is why there's no tolerance for dumbasses like that. Anyway, I'm going to pee and then we'll take the next call. But I got to tinkle. That was 40 minutes of my life. I ain't getting back. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. All right, we're going to jump around calls a little bit. So people that are in the calling queue, just remain in the queue and we'll get to everybody, I promise. But we're going to jump around a little bit. So next up, coming onto the show, welcome up TJ. TJ is pro-life and would like to debate the pro-life, pro-choice argument. TJ, if you can hear me, please provide me your age and pronouns.
Yes, Jovan, nice to talk to you. My name is TJ, and respectfully, I think pronouns are a matter of grammar. I do, if someone asks me respectfully, use pronouns, but that's just where I'm at on that issue. I hope that I don't want to cause a problem.
TJ, do you have pronouns you prefer to be called? Also, you need to turn, if you're on speaker, turn it off because you're echoing back.
I took it off speaker. Is that any better? I just turned the volume down a little bit.
We'll find out. Yeah, it seems better now. Do you not? Are you telling me there are no pronouns you prefer to be called?
That's not. Yeah, I am a male, so that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yes, but which pronouns would you prefer that the audience refers to you as?
I don't have preferred pronouns. Males go by he, him, so that's what I use.
So you'd be okay though if they said she, her. They called you that for the whole
if they
conversation.
want to be wrong, but they can.
So you do prefer that they call you he, him?
In the same way that a trans person can choose whatever pronouns that they want, people can use whatever pronouns they want for me. It doesn't makes no difference to me.
But you do have pronouns you prefer. So that's all I'm pointing out here, that there are pronouns you prefer to be called. So thank you. And how old are you?
I'm just saying that I don't believe in a preference for pronouns, because that implies that people can choose their pronouns, and I don't believe in that. I'm not trying to call
choose your pronouns.
That's just my personal opinion.
Absolutely can choose your pronouns just like you can choose your name. TJ, how old are you?
I am 43.
Great. Now you're calling to talk about abortion. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you are pro-life.
I am. I've been all over the place on this issue, but yes, right now that's where I am.
Great. Why are you pro-life?
So it comes down to whether or not you believe that a fetus, at conception is that if that's a life or not. So that's a critical point of view. So in my view, you are alive. You are a life that should, whose life should be constitutionally protected at conception. That's where I'm at. I was curious,
a fetus
is what your view is on that.
A fetus is definitely a life, but why is it unjustified to end that life?
Well, if you're alive, if you are a person, then you have a constitutionally protected right not to be murdered just because you're unwanted.
Well, living people have a constitutionally protected right. Like born people have a constitutionally protected right. Your constitutional rights don't start until birth.
Yeah, and I'm contesting that. That's where.
Cool. That's just a legal argument, though. Like I would just say I disagree with that law, and since that law is not in place, I don't know what we're.
Yeah. So like others have argued, I'm suggesting that we need to. I'm suggesting that we need to, extend the law to those that are in the womb.
But why?
That would be my position.
My question would be why?
Because all life matters. We all hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal with, the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And, if you kill somebody, then you are taking away their right to life. That would be the basis of that.
Is the right to life a positive or negative right?
Forgive me, I'm not positive, negative. I mean, you have a right to be alive. If you are alive, you have a right to life. You're a human being. You have a right to not be killed just because you're inconvenient or unwanted.
Okay, a positive right would be a right that entails a level of duty. A negative right does not entail an imposement of duty. So if I say I have a right to free healthcare, that would be a positive right because it's entailing duty from somebody. Somebody must provide me that free healthcare. So is the right to life positive or negative?
I guess in that sense, it would be a negative right because you can't have your life taken away from you.
Correct. However, when it comes to pregnancy, somebody must provide you resources in order to keep you alive, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So the right to life being negative means, and us knowing that it's negative, in the term of pregnancy, it's imposing an untoward duty. Therefore, you don't actually have that right.
what would how are you defining untoward?
Untoward would just means you're being, in this context, you're just imposing a duty on someone that's not imposed on anybody else. In the context that I'm using it here. So because there's this duty that's being, oh, he hung up. Okay. Oh, I think that's him calling back. Wait, I'm just going to take the call and see if that's him. TJ, is that you?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Did I get dropped or something?
Yeah, you disconnected, but it's fine.
I'm sorry about that. I was pacing around. That might have been my fault. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. Anyway, yeah, we're back to what we were talking about. The right to life being forced into a positive would mean that fetus doesn't actually possess that right, because you can't force somebody into a positive right when a right is inherently negative.
Well, yeah, my point was that by saying that it's a positive, you're implying that the woman in question that's pregnant got there, out of chance. Which
nope, I'm simply saying that the person who is pregnant must provide. They must provide something in order to maintain the life of that fetus. There's a duty imposed upon them.
Well, there's a duty. Every parent out there that has children has a duty to provide care.
Yes, and every single parent can. Well, no. If they don't want to have that duty anymore, they can give the child up. We have ways for you to remove yourself from that right. Pregnancy.
That's true. You can give the child up, but you can't kill it.
Well, yes, because it has rights at that point. So let's dive into this a little deeper. So, in my opinion, rights come from personhood, and I would say a fetus does not reach the level of personhood until about 24 weeks in utero, till it has the capacity for sentience.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Is that based on viability? Or is it sentience?
It's the capacity for sentience.
Capacity for sentience. Okay. So, in other words, if a person does not have sentience, that they are no longer a person. Is that how you view it?
Yes, if you are granted personhood once you have the capacity for sentience, and you don't lose personhood until the permanent end of that sentient experience.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I feel like that's worded very conveniently.
Well,
so
yes,
it's
worded so that my position stays logical.
If personhood is based on sentience, then that suggests that they don't have sentience and they do not have personhood.
No, it's based on the capacity for sentience.
Okay, well, a fetus has the capacity for sentience.
At 24 weeks, it does.
Time. In the same way that a coma patient does not.
It has the potential for sentience. It does not have the capacity. It has the capacity at 24 weeks.
Well, a coma patient has the potential for sentience, but does not currently possess sentience.
Yes, but a coma patient has the capacity for sentience. Their sentience is not permanently gone. They have the capacity for it. It's just not currently activated.
I would
just
say
like
it has
a
the
fetus
same potential as a fetus.
No,
Just a matter of time.
No, potential. When we talk about potential in a fetus, we're talking about the brain structures currently not existing. A fetus doesn't even have it has the potential because it may get those brain structures. It has the capacity once those brain structures exist. Think of it this way. If I have a car and that car has no engine in it, that car can potentially drive again one day if an engine is put in. But if all the engine and everything is in there and I just haven't started it yet, it has the capacity to drive. I just haven't started the car right now.
I mean, that's where this is the point of disagreement. It's, this is where I have a serious problem with pro-choice, and that's why last few years I got off the fence and started being pro-life, because it frankly seems that we're being very cavalier and callous with life, just throwing it away when it's inconvenient. I think there are serious
but I don't really care about that.
Taking that attitude to life.
I disagree. We take that attitude to life all the time.
In what capacity?
I mean, every time we cut down a tree so that we can have a house, we've taken that acknowledgement towards life. Every animal we've killed, we've taken that acknowledgement towards life. But you didn't say human being, you said life.
Okay, well, we got to keep it focused on if you want to extend it out to all types of life.
You said life. So life it's not life that's important to you, it's human life that's important to you.
Well, we're talking about what we're doing with human beings in this specific context. I mean,
yes,
if you want to branch it out to a greater environmental context, I'm just saying that's a very wide area.
TJ, you said life, right? You said life is what's important, but that's not actually true. What you meant was specifically human life is important, and that's fine if you believe that.
Yes.
But what's the reason why human life is more valuable than, say, animal life?
I mean, we are talking about human life, right, in this context. If you want, I mean, I'm just saying we're getting onto a different subject, which I'm happy to talk about.
It's the same
but
subject.
That's not what we were
talking about why human.
What we're doing specifically in the context of human beings in the womb. That is the context of this conversation. I just want to try and stay focused on what we were discussing.
TJ, it's the same subject because you're talking about life being important and you're saying, but it's human life specifically. So I'm asking you, why is human life important? Why is human life intrinsically valuable?
Well, in this specific context I'm talking about is how we treat our fellow human beings.
Yes. That
is the context of it.
Wait, I don't really care about how we treat our fellow human beings. If I have just a human body and there's no consciousness or sentience in that body, I don't care what happens to that body. That body's still a human being, but like, what do I care? It's just a body at that point. The person's not there. So why do I care about a fetus prior to the person being there?
Well, because at one point that was you.
And
so exactly. It's just
an emotional appeal,
TJ. Let me try and circle the wagon on this. I promise you, I'm going somewhere. In the same way that as an 18-year-old, I was encouraged to have opinions on, say, school funding, vouchers versus, public education. I was encouraged to have views on that subject, even though I did not have kids. In the same way, we were all once unborn in the womb, and in that same way, those individuals in the womb, whether you consider them people or not, that impacts society. And I think it's a question worth asking: how we treat the unborn.
How does it impact society?
It affects society whether we're bringing life in this world or not. How we're treating our fellow human beings.
How do abortions affect the broader society, like landscape? How does it do that? Like if somebody has an abortion.
For one thing, in the current culture, I would not have been born.
Okay,
that's one thing. And I think
you wouldn't have existed. So what does it matter? Wait. Why do people? I'm so confused why pro-life people do this. If my mom, for instance, had an abortion, I wouldn't have never existed. So I wouldn't have cared because I wouldn't have existed.
Yeah, that would be a shame.
Why? I wouldn't have existed to care. I wouldn't have existed to care.
Either life is important and worthy of protection or it's not.
Why is life important?
Really?
Yes, I want you to substantiate the claims you're making.
If life is not important, then why do you have laws at all?
I'm not making a claim. I'm asking you about what you're saying, right? I'm not saying life is or isn't. You're saying life is important. So I'm asking you why.
Life is important. I mean, how we treat each other matters because we all want, we all want a good society. We want all live in harmony, and we're all searching for how do we do that.
I'm looking for a reason here. I'm looking for a grounding of this claim. So you're making a claim specifically. It's not even life. It's specifically human life is important. So I'm asking you to ground this and tell me why.
I'm not really sure how this is relevant to discussion. I mean, I'm just being brutally honest.
Your claim is that human life is important. What do you mean? How is that relevant to discussion? Asking you to ground your beliefs is 100% relevant to the conversation we're having.
How we treat our fellow human beings matters as a society, whether we treat life as disposable or not. And I have a real problem with people that look at life that is inconvenient and say, oh, good, just throw it away. I think that's wrong.
TJ, I have a problem with people who make claims that they can't ground. So your claim right now is that human life is important, and it's so important that we need to stop people from being able to have abortions. So why is human life that important that we have to stop people from doing this? You're just going in circles. You keep saying it's important because it's important.
Well, I get it. You're not accepting what I'm saying. So I don't know what to tell you.
TJ, you're not grounding it. You're literally not giving a grounding to your claim. We have two different. No, I can give a grounding. You're not asking me about my claim. My grounding would be that sentient life is important.
If you want to play that game, then why do you think human life is not worth preserving?
I never said that. My claim is that sentient life is valuable.
You're trying to hold my feet to the fire that I'm not explaining why human life is worth preserving. You tell me why human life is not worth preserving.
I've never made the claim it isn't. So I don't know what you want me to. You want me to ground a claim I've never made? I'm asking you to ground a claim that you have made. My claim would be that all sentient life is inherently valuable. Your claim is that only human life, whether it's sentient or not, is inherently valuable.
Okay, now you're putting words into my mouth. I never said that other life is not important. I was saying that we are just specifically discussing abortion, which is the taking of human life. And I am simply saying that I would like to stick to the subject.
TJ,
I feel that if we're going to broaden out the conversation,
TJ, it's about being.
We're not going to be able to focus on the topic.
TJ,
at hand.
It's about being logically consistent. So I'll give you an example. If somebody tells me, "Hey, life is important, so we shouldn't unalive fetuses," and they go, "All life is important," and I go, "Well, are you vegetarian?" Or you don't have to be vegetarian. Do you believe we should be vegan? Like, do you believe animal life has value? And they're going to say no. I'm like, okay, well, then not all life is valuable. So now we can dive down into your claim more. And they go, okay, well, it's just human life that's valuable. Okay, well, now I want to know what you think makes human life valuable. And then we can dive down into your claim more. It's just about recognizing whether your claim logically holds true or not by its own internal critiques.
Okay, but the thing is, all law in this country and every country is grounded on the idea that human life is worth preserving. So
laws change all the time. I don't really care what the law says. At one point, wait, TJ, I've not made the claim human life is not worth preserving. TJ, I'm asking you to ground. You're making a moral claim here, not a legal claim. No, it isn't, TJ. If you think this is irrelevant, then I need you to go back to the debate school because I've been debating abortion a long time. This is actually a pretty big thing. This is how we ground these arguments. You're not making a legal one right now. You're making a moral one. That human life is intrinsically valuable is a moral claim, not a legal claim.
Let me square the circle.
Great.
I believe abortions are wrong because I believe it is a human life and we need to treat human life with respect in accordance with the laws of our country. Our country specifically says that every person has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is in our Constitution. And on that basis, if you accept that a fetus is a person, which is what I believe, then therefore it is due those protections. That is my belief.
Yeah, you've not grounded these assumptions. You've just maintained the assumption. So
if we
went in, you have not grounded in the assumption of why human life is valuable. You've not grounded that. You just keep saying it is.
That in the U.S. Constitution, which
and if the Constitution came out tomorrow, if they change the Constitution tomorrow, TJ, if they change the Constitution tomorrow, if all Democrats and Republicans got together and they changed the Constitution to say all people except for fetuses have a right to life, liberty, and happiness, then you would be like, okay, cool.
Then
now I'm pro-choice.
Yes.
So then you're pro-choice all of a sudden.
Yes. Yes, I would agree that my argument collapses if they change that. Yes.
No, but are you now pro-choice?
No.
Then this is what I'm saying. The law doesn't matter. I'm trying to get into your belief system here, not just what the law says.
It depends on how you define a person. If you define a person as someone at conception, then yes, my logic holds. You just simply disagree with that, and that's where we have a disagreement.
You haven't made any grounding of your law. You know what? It's just we're just going in circles at this point. I'm just going to move on. We're just going in circles, and you refuse to ground your position in anything. So I'm going to just end it a minute early because what the fuck? There's been no grounding here, dude. God damn, dude. I just want an argument grounded in something. You could have said anything. I believe humans have value because of religion. I believe all humans have intrinsic value because of our nature. I believe because we're higher rational beings. That's why. Like anything. And said you just wouldn't do it. Anyway, shout out to Sheep. Golly, dude. You guys get my frustration with that, right? God damn. When you make a claim, anybody who listened to my entire presentation the other day with the line knows when you make a claim, it has to be grounded in, you have to figure out the assumptions behind a claim. And he refused to internally critique his own position. You can't ground all statements. You should be able to ground all of your claims. We're just gonna go through our whatever. Simply Rex, thank you so much for subscribing with Amazon Prime. Real Slow Like, thank you for subscribing with Amazon Prime. Chef DeWalrus, thank you for subscribing at tier 1. It's EB, thank you for resubscribing with Amazon Prime. Goran Sir, thank you for gifting 2 subs to the community over on Twitch. And Dan's Lead Out, thank you for resubscribing for 1 month at tier 1 on Twitch. Shout out to the Twitch subs. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for being subscribed over here on Twitch. Subscriptions are always a helpful way to support the channel. If you want to support, you can also send super chats over on the YouTube. Super chats are a great way to support, and I read all super chats at the end of stream. You can also send a tip to the Cash App or Venmo if you want to support the stream. Tips go towards keeping the call-in lines open and running smoothly. So if you want to make sure that those call-in lines remain open, consider sending a tip. Shout out to our super chatters so far today. We will be reading all those super chats at the end of stream. And shout out to everybody watching. If you're here for the first time, welcome in. Subscribe, follow, do all those things so that you get debates, you know? We're gonna move on to the next call. Next up, we have, coming into the show, we have John. Now, John thinks trans men and women are trans men and women, and that they are changing their gender but not their sex. So we'll see what John has to say about that. John, if you can hear me, please provide me with your age and pronouns.
Yes, sir. Age 41 and pronouns he, him.
All right. Now, John, you said trans men and women would be changing their gender. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great. So you agree?
Yes.
There are men and women.
Yeah, I am an ally. I just think we get this confusion with when you say trans women or women. I think what that happens is that people hear that you're saying trans women, the gender, are women, the sex.
Women is not a sex term, so I don't know what the confusion is. Confusion is not on me. I know that female would be the sex term.
Well, I mean, colloquially, when you're talking, I just noticed this all the time with my conservative friends and family. They can't seem to understand they're separate, and we both would agree they are, right?
Gender and sex would be separate.
Okay, so like all I'm saying is trans women are trans women. Women are women and men are men. It is what it is.
Women is a gender term, not a sex term. So why would you not label them as women?
Well, I guess if you want to go into terminology or like
the lexicon of women. I'm saying colloquially we use women as a sex term. Like, is that a woman? Yes.
Sure.
Is that a female?
This would be incorrect though. Using woman as a strict sex term would be incorrect. Gender refers more to cultural and social differences than just biological differences. So wouldn't it be more important to correct the people that are misusing gender as a sex term?
I would think so. You're right. But I also think that we have to meet them where they are. They're not the smartest to understand the lexicon and terminology. So just let them have the word when they're trying to talk about sex, and then tell them trans people are trans people. Like, they're not.
So instead we should allow, we should allow trans people to feel othered instead of making people, you know, accept the reality that gender and sex are two different concepts. I don't want them to feel othered, but well, they're going to. If you say trans women are not women, right? They're trans women. That's an othering statement.
Well, I'm trying to give them their identity and their autonomy by letting them, obviously, yes, you're trans. I'm not debating that, but I'm trying to also get the other side of the aisle, the conservative viewpoint, to say, hey, they're not saying they're changing their sex to women because they're trans women. They're saying that trans women in their minds is the gender term.
Yes, but you
and then
recognize
women is the sex term.
You recognize that woman is a gender term, not a sex term, and that female would be the sex term. But you're saying we shouldn't be telling this to transphobes. We should instead be saying, no, you're right, transphobic people. Trans women are not actually women. That's othering. That's ceding the point to them.
No. But not actually women. See, right there, when you said that, I understand what you're saying. But if we're going to win this debate, then we're going to have to, there's going to have to be some type of compromise on the colloquial use of these terms, or we can't just speak in scientific terms all day long, right? We can't really speak in like academically inclined terminology, like through everything.
How academic is it to just use the phrase female versus the phrase woman?
No, I agree. I think this is coming from my mother, and everyone in my family is crazy conservative. So I have a little more compassion. I'm trying to get them to understand that people aren't talking about chromosomal sex when they say woman. They're talking about what you're saying, the gender, but they're not going to change their they're not going to change their whole worldview based on like this one word. They just think a woman is a woman and a man is a man. So let trans people have their own category. Let trans people have their own lives and their own detailed, way to describe themselves. And I just think,
but the way they describe themselves as women, and sociologically, they absolutely fit into that category since woman is a sociological term. What you're saying is, why don't we? I'm sorry, I don't want to cater to bigots. Like, I don't really like if they are not, if they are too ignorant to be able to be educated on the differences between sex and gender, they're a lost cause. This is basic third grade level biology.
I know. I'm trying to build a bridge here, and to give up on, gender versus sex terms is the same thing that you would be giving towards fetus being the term for, what y'all were talking about earlier. Fetus is the actual term, not baby, because baby is a colloquial use of the term.
Yeah, but the difference is I'm not going to hurt the fetus's feelings because the fetus doesn't have any, right? I'm not like, when I'm othering the fetus, there's not somebody who's getting harmed by that othering. For trans women, there are.
Right.
Because now you have think of what it does when we other them that way. Now you have people who attack trans women because they believe they're lying, or they believe that they're making up their womanhood. You have people that you have people that go online and demonize them for all it's just othering them is just harmful. And the better thing to do would be to teach people who are bigoted, right? But hey, what you're saying is wrong. Gender and sex, scientifically, we know that they're different now. We know that they're different, on a basic neurological level. So, maybe change.
Yeah, their brains are different. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I listen to Allegedly Ian and all those other guys, and I really enjoy this stuff. I just think that to build a bridge with these bigots, I guess I want to meet them at their level and then bring them up. Once you let the walls come down and they're able to feel like you understand them, then they'll be more willing to change their minds with the newer terms and the educated version of what you're talking about. They'll be more open to that.
Trans people are currently being attacked.
Fair enough.
Like they don't have time for this. They're being attacked.
Yeah.
Like the rate of violence
That's
amongst,
fair enough. And
just real quick, the rate of gendered violence amongst trans people is 8 times higher than any other gendered group. They don't have the luxury of the weight.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I will do my best to educate my family on, you know, the term of woman is actually a gender and female is the sex, but it's just going to get lost in the weeds. You know, I thought what I said in my premise was a good, you know, kind of logical centering of it is what it is and it's not what it's not. You know, this is what it is. But what they hear when you say trans women or women, they're saying trans women, the gender is changing the sex. If I change my gender, then that means I change my sex, and that's what their mosquito brains cannot.
Well, the larger issue with that is some trans people do change their sex because a lot of conservatives don't realize the way scientifically we classify sex. They think it's all chromosomes, but that's not how we classify it. Genotypically we do, but more aptly, there are 5 sex categories, and that would be chromosomes, gonads, internal, external genitalia, and hormone production. And 4 of those things can be changed. So if 4 of your 5 sex attributes can be changed, you absolutely are changing your sex.
Wow. So you can you would say if you change 4 out of 5, you would be good with just going the whole way and saying they've changed their sex?
Yeah, well, that's just what science says.
Okay, I guess that's a hard one for me to swallow, because it'd be like if you're 4/5 of the way done with something, are you done with something? No.
But it's not about being done. It's about the fact that the way we categorize sex is by your distribution of these 5 things. It's not just one of them, because you can have somebody who's female that has XY chromosomes, and we do have examples of this, but we still classify them female. Why? Because there are other attributes. There's more of those other attributes that lean female than just the chromosomes. People,
you're right. It's not as definitive as black and white. You're right, because you can have the genotype and you can have the chromosome, but you can also have the gonads that don't match with that, or the gametes. Yeah,
sex
is and all that
varied.
Doesn't match up with. Yeah.
Sex is way too varied to operate on a one trait basis. It's impossible. And anybody that does that is operating.
But why do we have to go?
Sorry, go ahead.
Why do we have to go so philosophic? I'm sorry, excuse me. Just why do we have to go so philosophical? Like, it's like whenever I'm talking about abortion with like conservatives, they go into this, what is life philosophy? And it's like, no. It's very simple. Like, this is what you did a great job before. And I'm trying to do the same thing with gender. I'm trying to say, stop getting all philosophical and in academic on like, we need a colloquial way to send this message, instead of getting in this, well, actually 4 to 5 gametes, and then there's the chromosomal. Like, they don't have time for this. They got kids.
It's not my fault that they learned biology at a 3rd grade level and never expanded. We're just seeding an untrue.
You want people to be smarter, right?
I want people to stop. People who claim that like they're just basing their opinions off of biology, even though they're basing it completely wrong, to stop. Because it's not actually based on biology. They're making claims that are factually untrue. And I'm not going to dumb down an issue so they feel better for themselves when they're wrong.
That's true. I hate dumbing shit down. You're right. I say it's cutting their steak up for them. It's just difficult. It's frustrating, but I guess I will do my best to educate my family on the terms that are actually used for sex and gender and the differences. But yeah, I appreciate, I mean, I would love to talk about other things, but I don't know if I agree with what you're saying. I just wanted to offer a what's that, dove, a piece, you know, whatever it is,
An olive branch
to the other side and say, hey, yeah, thank you, an olive branch to the other side to say, hey, let trans people be trans people. Let them have their own lives in their own category and let them live the way that they want. And
but that's the problem is trans people don't want
up on
being trans isn't the category that they're falling into, right? Being trans is just something that they are. Like, it's just what they are. The category they're falling into is women. It'd be like just to make a comparison, it's like if you were to go, well, black women are black women, but they're not women. They're black women, and we need to keep them, let them be black women, but they're not women. Which, fun fact, that did happen throughout a long history of racial oppression. Black women were not considered women by white women because of the sheer fact that they were black. So, like, it's the exact same thing. Like, it's just, trans is just a description. It's just telling you that your gender identity differed from your assigned sex at birth. That's it. That's all it is. It's to describe the type of woman you are.
So when we say trans woman or women, you've just described the woman as trans and given her also the description of her gender as woman. So like you're describing both of those things in that phrase, trans women or women.
Yeah, we're doing when we say trans women is
giving her the gender.
Yes, it's just describing the type of woman she is. She is a woman whose gender identity does not align with the sex she was assigned at birth. That's it.
Understandable. I just know that is, she is a woman. That right there, when you said that is not received well.
Yes,
you know?
because
I can understand it. And I know you can too, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, transphobes don't understand. They don't have the knowledge. From what I've learned, it's primarily down to a lack of knowledge. They are ignorant on sociology, biology, because they were taught in third grade, men are males, females are women are females, and they never decided to add on to that knowledge. Like we're taught that 1 + 1 = 2, and then if you grow up, you learn advanced algebra. They never learned advanced algebra. And so they're stuck in the mindset that 1 + 1 = 2.
Well, I think that's why I call it academic, because, yeah, I mean, what's our expectation? Are we supposed to expect people to become interested in theoretical algebra, or just learn how to add 1 + 1? Like these,
they don't need to be interested in it, but they need to understand that their position is based on ignorance. And it is not based on the current scientific consensus.
Yeah. I mean, I remember a time in my life when people who didn't know shit just said, oh, I don't know shit. But they can't do that now because they think they know shit. So your pathway of doing this would work if they would be humble enough to say, hey, maybe I don't know everything about sex and gender. I mean, yeah, that's what it is based on. That hope that they're humble enough to realize that they don't know everything. But I mean, good luck, I guess.
I mean, it's up to like, if I have somebody who is incapable of learning, then I'm not going to I'm just going to let them live in their ignorance because they're incapable of shifting their position.
Yeah, I guess I'm just showing my frustration because my mom and my family are they're, like you said, they're so far gone. Whenever I try to describe to them the different masculinities throughout history and how it's changed, now we know that the samurai way was different than the way of Athenia, and how Athens men considered what masculinity is, and their eyes start to glaze over. They start to roll their eyes, and they can't engage for more than 7 words at a time, you know? And I'm like, well, what are we doing? We're just going to keep, am I just supposed to keep hammering into them?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, to protect the trans people who can't do it themselves. Yes.
Okay. I mean, hey, fair enough. I do consider myself fighting this kind of battle as well. You're doing it on a much more grander scale, but these things that I hear, man, it's just I just don't get why, like, trans people.
John, can I make an observation? Can I make an observation, John? And I'm saying this in complete and utter good faith, so I hope you take it this way. What I think is happening right now is you have loved ones, and you want to believe your loved ones are good people inherently, and you're coming up against them doing things that show them to not be those good people in your mind. And so you're trying to find a compromise to keep them good people, but all your compromise does is it hurts trans people. I personally, not saying you have to, but sometimes it is best to recognize that the people we love have these internal flaws. And instead of compromising on them, we call them out on these internal flaws, whatever the consequences of that call out might be.
Right. You're not alone in that assumption, because I've been told that before, that maybe my parents and my friends are not as good as I thought they were. And I ask these questions like you do online, but to them in like 12 different versions of that question to try to make them give me the right answer that shows me that they care or that they have empathy, but they just don't do it. And it's like, it's you're right. I'm coping with the fact that they might not be as good of people as I thought.
The only thing I want you,
man, that's lonely as fuck.
I understand, but what I want you to see going forward, like you can find community anywhere, but what I want you to see moving forward, right? Because your family, clearly they don't give a shit about these people, right? They don't care what they say, if what they say hurts them. They don't care if their votes hurt them. They don't care about any of them. If you want to show that you do, you have to be the better person here. You can't compromise the safety and protection of these people because you want to keep a friendship, a relationship with somebody that is inherently doing bad things. Like, I'm not saying give up on them, but it can't be like compromise to make them into something that they're not. Because when you give them that inch, bigots are going to take that inch and go 100 miles the other direction. They're not just going to keep and hold that inch.
Hard feel. It's like hitting concrete, man. You're like, it's like, yeah, they suck. Like, yeah, that, I mean, I have a friend who listens to some people that I'm like, if you take it just makes it, I don't know. I'm trying to understand how someone could like there's a portion of Andrew Tate that I will go, okay, that sounds cool that you want to work out and be better. But one of my friends says he's doing great things for men. And I'm like, no, he's not. He like take the part from the whole, you know, the logical fallacy of composition. Like you can take a part of something, but that doesn't mean you have to take the whole thing. And
I would say there's no redeeming qualities about Andrew Tate. He's a goddamn sex trafficker, but
I know.
Nonetheless,
I know.
I do need to get to the other callers because there's still people waiting in queue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was a good one. Thanks. I might call back again but most of the things we agree on actually. So have a good one, man.
You too. Shout out to Yemye for wanting to move on there. Also, shout out to Darius for the Cash App, or the Venmo. I didn't see that earlier, Darius. My apologies. I wish pro-lifers would channel all this energy into regulating the U.S. fertility industry. Yo, that ass stud. That ass stud. That ass stud. I just, you know... Taylor, thank you for the Venmo. Said it's like come to Jesus, but come to Jovan. I'm actually better than Jesus in every way imaginable. I don't know if you know that. I'm superior. Shout out to Aaron's 2025 for subscribing over on Twitch. Thank you so much. And shout out Dan's Lidout. I don't know if I said shout you before, but shout you out now. Thank you for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you to the super chatters. Remember, we're going to read the super chats at the end of stream, mostly sheep. Shout out to those who became members on YouTube. The Shamanite, thank you for becoming a member of tier 2. Emily Dragon Queen, thank you for becoming a tier 2 member. Trauma Dahlia, thank you for becoming a tier 2 member. Thank you guys so much. I gotta pee again. I'm drinking a lot of water, but it's hot as shit in this room. Let me go pee and then we'll be back to more debates. Tinkle tinkle, what's the dinkle? What? I got ice. Maybe if my water is a bit colder, I won't be as hot and I won't need to drink as much. Hello, phone buzz? Oh, Painted Piglet, thank you so much for the Venmo. Yeah, I'm sure that's, I imagine that is, I imagine that's very difficult with everything going on right now. So here's the good news though. I highly doubt this is going to make it through, I very much highly doubt that's going to make it through legal obstacles. So anyway, everybody wants to talk about the same thing. Okay, we're jumping around a little bit just so that we can get some different things of conversations, but we are going to hit everybody that's in the queue right now. So just to be aware. So coming up next, we have Bill. Now, Bill thinks gender affirming care for minors is not necessarily a net positive, but we're going to find out what Bill thinks, and he wants to know what I think. Bill, if you can hear me, please provide me your age and pronouns.
Hey, Jovan. Name Bill, age 32, and pronouns he, him.
All right. Now, Bill, you wanted to talk about gender affirming care for minors. You think it's not a net positive. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it, especially since, some of my friends started having kids.
Okay. What are you worried about specifically?
All right. If I can give a small example, when I was a little tyke, I thought having straight black hair would be the coolest thing. But now that I'm older, it's like, okay, whatever. I have curly brown hair, and I got some concern that some of the kids might do the same thing with gender and whatnot. And I heard that some of the puberty blockers can wreak havoc with the bones, and you get what I'm saying.
So, yeah, there might be side effects, but what's the issue with that?
Well, I mean, I don't want my friend's kid growing up at age 24 with issues because of a decision they made when they were like 13 or something.
Okay, so how do I boil this down? Do you want their kids growing up?
I'm being offensive.
No. My question is, I'm just trying to figure out how I do the question. Do you want their kids growing up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. May I elaborate on my position a little bit?
Sure.
Because like if they want to live as the gender they're not, like I don't mind them dressing a bit, going with pronouns, but like some of the medication and the excuse me if this is rude, surgery, I get a little iffy on.
Okay. Two things. One.
Okay.
Surgery is typically reserved for people over the age of 18. There are some instances of it being done as young as 17, like we're talking bottom surgery. But bottom surgery is super rare for anyone under the age of 18. Top surgery, you're going to be looking at 15 and up. And I have no issue with somebody going through top surgery because these aren't going to like top surgery. Like somebody getting top surgery is not going to like massively negatively affect their life, right? Like growing up, they just want boobs.
Oh, okay. That's generally not what I think of when I think of top surgery.
What do you think of?
Removing the breast tissue.
Yes. They won't have breasts anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said they do want them.
No, I mean you have some people that might get implants, but that's going to be a bit rare because of how much that is, how much that costs.
I misheard you.
So yeah, I mean, I don't see a net harm just because somebody doesn't have boobs growing up. You know what I mean?
Okay. What about them puberty blockers? Doesn't that wreak havoc with the with the building bones and whatnot?
Well, no. There can be some instances of osteoporosis from like bone density issues from like medication, but those can be mitigated through just vitamin regimens because the dosage is not high enough that it's going to be like super problematic. And if when you are on gender affirming care, you're monitored by your doctor. So if your doctor notices these issues, they're going to pull you off of whatever medication you're on so that they can come up with a plan.
Okay. I suppose a lot of my worries is just, again, excuse me if this is rude, how reversible some of this stuff is. And, you know, I know that the, what do you call it, regret rate for the trans is weirdly low. But I'm not sure if that's just a condition of, well, only those who really, 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 really want it are able to get it these days. Does that make sense, or am I rambling?
Well, the reason why the regret rate is low is just because we see that it ends up being a positive, like it ends up working out. Like the when it comes to gender affirming care for minors, it tends to be that it leads to more positive mental health outcomes. So that's why the regret rate is so low.
You don't think it's just that we put so many hurdles that only those who, you know, really go the distance for it?
I mean, maybe, but like, I actually think we restrict it a little too much. There are people who drastically need it that aren't able to get it.
Oh, I mean, no disagree with you there. I just got some concern that if we, you know, make it easier. No, I guess that's a dumb opinion of mine. Okay, hey, if I can pick your brain a little bit more, about what age do you think they can start the puberty blockers?
It would be. It's not about age. It's about what Tanner stage of puberty you're in, and typically we see that in Tanner stage 2 is when puberty blockers would start.
I'm sorry. What was that? Tanner stage?
Yeah, the Tanner stage is the stages of puberty.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. And you said Tanner stage 2?
Tanner stage 2 is when. Tanner stage 2 is when they would begin puberty blockers.
Okay, well, I guess I need to do more research on this then. Oh, sorry for taking up the line.
No problem.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye.
Oh yeah, I probably should have directed him towards Takis. That probably would have been good. Bill, if you happen to be listening, Takis starts. Oh God, right? It starts in like an hour, doesn't it? When does Takis start? Like an hour or two? The Transatlantic Call-In Show over on the line, which is a show of trans people for trans people by trans people. It's another call-in show. They begin in literally 2 hours, 3 hours. They start at 3 o'clock. 3 p.m. Eastern. Call in Arden and Dr. Ben. So Dr. Ben especially would be really great to have this conversation with. But yeah, how long is stream going? I'm only free for another 2 hours, so that's the max it will go for. I need a small little interlude before the next call. Just give me a little chance to just rest a little bit. Drop us off at Takis. I'll be gone before Takis begins. I just need a second. We've been taking a lot of calls today, so I need a little bit of chill. Everybody drop me your favorite breakfast food out of these 3 items in chat. What is your favorite? Waffles, pancakes, or French toast? Drop it in chat. I'm mutuals with Monty. I've never messaged them to see if she'd want to like come on the show for any reason. I could, but we're getting an after dark today. I don't know. I'm fucking exhausted from last night. So I don't know, dude. Low key, I'm so exhausted from last night's after dark. Maybe Friday you'll get an after dark. French toast, huh? Interesting. Okay. Oh, what is that? Bradley, thank you for the Cash App. Said you've taken like 15 calls in the last 24 hours. Yeah, no, we've been running two. I gotta get back on that algorithm, you know? And then Rain, thank you so much for the Cash App. Said just love, keep up the good work. Thank you so much. You know, we got to keep moving that leftist needle. Imagine I did an after dark. If I do anything tonight on stream, it would be gaming. If I did any nighttime streams today, it would be about gaming. I don't think I could do another debate stream tonight. I know Jovan was a waffle hater. First and foremost, Waffle House is my favorite breakfast restaurant. So keep Waffle's name out of your mouth. It would either be Dispatch or some horror games. Okay, let's move on to the next person. Coming up next on the show, we have Joseph. Now, Joseph thinks trans men and women are not men and women, so we're going to find out why Joseph believes what they believe. Joseph, if you can hear me, please provide me your age and pronouns.
Hey, I'm 26. I guess my pronouns would be he, him.
Okay, now Joseph, you do not believe trans men and women are men and women. Is that correct?
No, man. And listen, I was listening to the call before the last one. You got into like sex and gender, like the difference between the two, and you said something about like a third grade like education level, and like essentially referring to that guy's family as stupid for not being able to tell the difference. I'll be honest with you. Maybe I'm just as stupid. It's not because I can't tell the difference on a surface level. It's like man is like a social construct that you want to call it, I guess. Such as a woman is a social construct that you want to refer to as a social construct. And I'm okay with that. Like, if you want to tell me you're a woman, like, I'll respectfully say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. But I'm not going to tell you, like, on a logical basis, I'm not going to say that you're a woman because you can't give birth. I'm assuming you're a man. You can't give birth. So that's just, like, the difference in my mind. Like, help me bridge the gap here. I'd like to think I'm not a bigot. I'd like to think I'm not transphobic. But y'all, people that talk about this, like, really start to lose me when, like, for example, if I'm in public and a dude walks by me, but he's dressed up as a woman, but I can clearly tell it's a dude, I'm going to look at my friends and we're going to say that was a dude, even though they're...
What do you... Okay, hold on. Do me a favor. Let's just analyze this. Can you just provide me a functioning definition for the term gender and then a functioning definition for the term sex?
Can I answer that question with a question?
Okay.
I'll get into what I can answer that with, but I want to know what you, like, in your mind, what is the difference between the two?
Well, that's what I'm trying to see first. I'm basically trying to see what your understanding of them is before we dive into that.
Gender is just, dude, I don't, you start breaking it down into semantics and, like, opening up the textbooks and dictionaries. It's like, the difference between gender and sex is, I mean, you're really getting, like I said, you're just really getting out of semantics, I think. I mean, at the end of the day, a man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's just how I feel. And I'm not, that's not to take away from people's rights.
You're missing you're missing. I understand you believe this, right? You believe that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, but we're trying to boil down on your beliefs and see why they are the way that they are. Okay. So when I ask you, when I ask you to define gender, I'm looking to see what you think gender is so we can understand your beliefs and we can analyze those and we can deconstruct them.
If we're going that way, I would say gender, there are two genders. I guess you would have to also throw in there, like, there are just two genders, and how you tell what a gender is by their genitalia.
Okay, so there's two genders, and their genitalia would tell you what those two genders are. And what are? I mean, that's just. But what is gender? Like, if I imagine I was an alien. Okay, I'm an alien. Mm-hmm. I have no idea about the human concept of gender. What is gender? What does it mean?
You have an answer for me? Because, like, I feel like it's so simple to answer, yet, like, you make it sound complicated. I just feel like it's so simple. Like, how could you ask me such a question and yet I'm stumbled? Gender is just, like, you're either a man or a woman, and that's gender. Like, okay. There's no deeper level.
Imagine I told you. Imagine I said, "Hey, hey, Joseph, what is a car?" And you went, "Well, you're either a Ford or a Ferrari." Right? That doesn't tell me what a car is. You might be giving me what you believe are examples of cars, but I don't know what a car is.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, a car would be something you drive, and then in the case of gender is something that you are, I guess. A gender is a person is a gender, and the gender is based off of what their genitalia is.
Okay, so a gender. Still okay, so I'm just going to answer the question because you're still not really connecting what I'm saying here, and that's fine.
I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. What gender is?
Sure, gender. One second. Gender would be a list of attributes, primarily social and cultural, that are attributed typically to either of the two sexes. So gender is going to be a much more, a much more subjective thing than like what sex is going to be.
Okay, so then, all right, that's kind of what I said in my opening statement as well. Like you want to have the gender thing be like a social construct. From my understanding, that's just from what I've gathered from hearing all parties. Like for the most part, the people that believe in like trans men and women or men and women, is that like you're saying? I want to make sure I'm clearly understanding that gender is just saying that they believe socially that they fit this gender. That they
no,
fit this
gender is a list of what socially is decided about what a list of these behaviors that are socially constructed. Gender is socially constructed. It only can be because gender doesn't exist outside of human society. For instance, just to describe to you, hold on,
really understanding.
Hold on, Joseph, just really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
You wouldn't call a female dog a woman, right?
No.
Yeah, because you recognize women as a strictly human thing.
Okay, yeah, all right. I'm picking up on what you're saying. All right. From here, let's continue as if we both understand each other so far. From here, does it still make me, because like calling trans men and women, okay? It still makes someone transphobic to say, like, again, I'll go back to my example from earlier. A man walks by who is dressed as a woman, or I guess we'll say a male. Okay, is that like the proper? What I'm trying to do is tiptoe on eggshells here to not hurt feelings and to not be labeled as a bigot or uneducated, right? Like if let's say a male walks
we'll just make it really simple, Joseph. What is a man? Like, what do you consider a man to be?
A man is a man. Like it's so simple to me, and yet people.
Okay, a man is a male. A man is a male. So what is a male?
A male is again. I go back to the same thing I was saying with gender. Is a male is someone who is. It's based on the genitalia. It's if they have a penis.
Okay, male is genitalia. Let's boil that down a little bit now. If I have a male who's born with no genitals because they might have penile agenesis, so they're not born with a penis. What are they?
Sorry, is that even a thing?
Yes.
Forgive me for my ignorance if that's what this is. You're saying a man can be born without a penis?
Yes. A male can be born sans penis, yes.
What?
Sans just means none.
So like
Without.
It's just like a stub, like it's just like a tree stump.
There's a million things that can go on down there, but they can be born without a full penis. It's called penile agenesis. It is a medical condition. So you've said that you need a penis to be a male, right? Like a penis is required. So what is this person then?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer for you because I didn't know that was even a person to begin with. I didn't know that was even possible.
Yeah, this is something you have to now analyze, right? And you've got to come to a decision here. If it is the case that men must have penises, and that's because they're male, and here's a male without a penis, you got to know what they are. You have to be able to tell me what they are. Because in your purview, they wouldn't be men because they don't have a penis.
Okay, so then are you saying that there's more than two sexes? Is that what you're saying?
Nope.
So there are just two sexes.
I operate under the assumption that humans are sexually dimorphic. They have two primary sexes, but the thing is, and trying to create a gender category off of sex when sex is so incredibly varied is pretty impossible. Because everything you're going to claim sex is, there's going to be a what's the word I'm looking for? There's going to be an outlier. There's going to be an outlier, right? There's going to be an outlier to these things. So because of those outliers, no, I don't believe sex can be this dimorphic thing. Or, I'm sorry, I don't believe sex can be the thing that we base gender off of because of said outliers.
It's really interesting hearing your stance on that, because, like, what if I told you, like, the exception to the rule isn't the rule? The rule is still the rule.
Except, though, exceptions disprove category rules. So when we're talking about sex and gender, we're making category decisions. And sex 100% disproves category rules.
Well, hold on, because...
Our variations disprove category rules.
You're talking about variations. I'm going to keep saying the word exceptions, okay? Because like these exceptions that I've just learned are a thing where you can't be born without a second. You're either born male or female. And these exceptions that you're talking about do not make the rule. The exceptions do not make the rule, because the rule is still the rule.
I'm gonna tell you again, Joseph, I'm going to tell you again. Exceptions disprove category rules 100% of the time. Yes, they do. If you're making a rule for a category, so right now you have a category. That category in this conversation would be women. And you're claiming a woman must possess a specific trait in order to be in that category. That trait in this instance would be whatever you say. We can say man, and that trait is penis. Now you have, here comes a man who's born without a penis. They're male, but they're born without a penis. And if you go, well, they still fit into this category, then you've broken your rule. You've quite literally broken your rule to allow them in. Exceptions break the rule. So it was not required for someone to have a penis to be in this category. So then I don't know why we're forcing, like, let's say a trans man who does not have a penis. If it's not required to have a penis to fit in this category, in some instances, why do they have to have one?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, Jovan. You've kind of, you stumped me, because I don't, again, like, before this call even happened, I don't know, I've never heard of such a person being born without either, or, as you said, a male without a penis. That's really hard to wrap my mind around. And I guess you're right. Like, if it breaks the category rule, yeah, I see what you're saying, then, like, the category rule is just not valid. I guess what I'll do now, or what I'll ask to do now, is to focus more on the men and women thing. And we'll just go to the social construct, not the biological construct. You talk about trans men and women being men and women. Under your rule, under your definition, men and women being a social construct. Like for example, if I were to change my Instagram handle to a name, and I just wanted that to be my, like, that's just what my name is on Instagram. So if you were to, like, in such a way, you want to be a female, or excuse me, you want to be a woman, I'm supposed to just call you a woman. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, basic level of respect, right? If somebody says, hey, please call me a woman, I would be like, okay, you asked me to, and I'm going to base level respect you.
Yeah, but on a level of, like logic, man, like, I'm sorry.
Why would I? What reason would I have to doubt them? What reason would I have to doubt them?
Reason to have what?
What reason would I have? Now, listen, if I've been talking to somebody who's been anti-trans for their entire life, and they are bigoted, and they're doing this, and it's very clear they're doing this as just like a bit, or like just like a haha, got you, then yeah, I'm not going to believe them. But somebody who's genuine, what reason wouldn't I have to believe them? Someone I care about who's like, hey, Jovan, I really need to talk to you about this. I think I'm a trans woman. I'd be like, okay. Well, I don't have any reason to not believe you on this.
Like I've said a couple of times already, man. Like if my best friend, who's a guy, like, or just any man on the street, is presenting themselves as a woman, and then I further learn that they wish to be called a woman, then sure, like, out of respect, yes. But I'm not gonna, like, let's say for instance, let's say I have a kid, and they're growing up and they're learning about society, and that man walks by me presenting as a woman, and my child asks me, like, Daddy, why does he look, or why do they look like I'm gonna tell them, like, that's just a man dressed up as a woman. That's what that is.
But how do you know that? Like, again, what are
I
you
just told
basing?
you
What are you
if I-
basing them being a man on?
I just told you that it was, in this example, it was someone that I knew was a man, and they told me they wanted to be called a woman.
But
Okay,
wait,
all right,
again,
let's
again,
just-
you're
let's
not
back up, let's
following
back
me
up.
here. You're not following me here. How do you know that they are not a woman? Like, how do you know that they're not, like, if they're saying they're trans and they're like, I'm a trans woman, what are you basing your assumptions that they're a man off of?
You just answered my question for me, man. Like, the fact that they are a trans woman says that they were originally a man. They have transitioned into a woman, and I can respect their wishes and their feelings and say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Or
But again, what do you think? What is a woman?
I'll play ball with you, and I'll agree with you. We'll go with social constructs. A woman is whatever, it's whatever the identity of a female is, or whatever, however y'all like saying it. Like, a female has a social identity, and that is a woman. And a male has a social identity, and that is a male. I'll play ball with you and say that. And again, out of respect, I would call a trans woman yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. But I'm not, in my mind, I'm sorry, that is still a man who has transitioned into a woman.
Yeah, so the issue that I'm having here, hold on. The issue that I'm having here is you can't even give me what you think a woman is.
I just did.
No, you
it's
didn't.
The social, it's the label for whatever we as a society are putting females under. Like, so, like, if we think females are supposed to wear dresses, that's a woman. Like, is that not what you? That's what I'm playing ball. I'm literally lying down and trying to agree with that definition, and you're telling me I'm not.
Then what? Then if society agrees that woman is not based on any external features, it's just based on an internal gender identity, then how can we say that trans women would be men?
How can we say that trans women would be men?
Mm-hmm.
So part of me wants to, like, dumb this down a little bit, but, like, also, like, I don't want to back away from this question. It's just hard to answer. It's not that I don't want to answer your question. It's just that I want you to understand where I'm coming from. Trans women being men, it's not that we can't say that they're men. It's that they are trans women. Damn. There's so many fucking labels. Am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry.
Sure. I just don't know what, like.
I don't know if I'm. Yeah, I don't know what the guidelines are for that. Like, I don't want to get you in trouble. I've already done it anyways. I wasn't trying to, but trans, like, a woman that is transitioned into a man is now a trans man. It's like, no, like, you just want me to take the word trans out of that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I don't, like, why are you like, I just feel like I'm fucking up against a rock and a hard place here. When we're talking about trans men and women, trans is just telling me that their gender doesn't align with their birth sex. It doesn't tell me anything about whether they're a man or a woman in general. That's just the type of man or woman they are. Trans does not mean transition.
I'm not going to lie to you. That's what I've always thought. What does trans mean?
It just means on the opposite side of. So when we put it in front of gender, it means they're on the transgender. Their gender is on the opposite side of their sex.
So, okay, yeah, I mean, our trans man, my mind, dude, I can't keep up with this. Because you got to understand, and I don't think it's an ignorance thing, and I don't think it's a bigotry thing. I don't think it's any of that. It's like, a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and you ask me what is a man and what is a woman, and I tell you, like, a man is, we'll go with, like you said, gender identity, whatever they feel that they are. If I feel that I'm a man, then I'm a man. That's a man. Like, that, it's just, like, I go back to the conversation you had a couple calls earlier, where I feel like I'm running in circles, because I don't know that we're ever going to come to an agreement on something, and it's not based off of, like, I'm out of words, dude. because I feel like I'm ready to die on the hill that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And if
Yeah, but
that
Joseph,
woman wants to
you're
say they're a
dying.
man, I would
Joseph,
respect that.
Joseph, you're dying on this hill with no logical grounding.
What do you mean no logical grounding? If a man is a man and a woman, if a man cannot give birth, then they are not a woman. If a woman cannot get a woman pregnant, then they are not a man.
Can women who can't give birth, are they still women?
Sure, they're still women. All right.
Then why is giving birth a
It
criteria?
was just an example of the things that women are typically capable of doing. No, not all women are capable of doing it.
Yes, so
but it's
trans
what we
women would be
identify.
the atypical. They'd be the women who are not capable of this.
And so you just want me to refer to them as women anyways. But I won't. That is a man. And I will respect the wishes that they feel that they're a woman, and I will say yes, women, no, man. And I will treat them as such. What?
Joseph, you are literally just conceding that it doesn't matter what anyone says to you or what logic can be presented. You're just like, I feel that they're this way, so I'm always going to refer to them as this way.
No, I told you the opposite, bro. Because if I know that a female, we'll go with female. If I know that a female says that they feel that they're a man, like they're still a woman, or excuse me, yeah, they're still a woman, I will say yes or no, sir. I will treat them as how they want to be treated. Like we talk about, like a couple of calls earlier, we talk about how we treat human beings. Like I think that's important, and like you said earlier, out of respect, I will say and treat people how they want to be spoken to.
Then Joseph, you have to tell me what it is. What is the necessary trait that someone must possess in order to be a woman?
I don't know that there is a necessary trait, and
then you can't bar Joseph. You can't bar people from the category if there is no necessary trait. You can't say you can't be in the category if there isn't a trait that keeps them out of the category.
But every necessary trait that I bring to the table, you just kind of like smash on its fucking head, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense,
Joseph. Because at the end of the day, there is none. There cannot be a biologically necessary trait tied to sex that induces your gender, because all of them have exceptions. That's the point. Sex is too varied to make it a necessary condition of gender.
I feel like I'm gonna have to take some time to let that bowl around my head, because, to be honest with you, I too come from a conservative family, and maybe that's like the root of like, you know how it goes. You're raised in a certain way, you're taught a certain thing, and it's like it's hard to kind of break that when it's been your whole life. And I'm not telling you that I will break it or that I'm attempting to break it. I'm certainly not telling you that you broke it here today. But I will tell you, I've thought in this conversation, I've thought longer and harder about this than I ever have. So good on you, man. I guess I would ask you, like, can you, and I guess anyone listening to this, find. I've been reading some of your comments over the last few calls. I'm not reading them right now because I'm sure people are saying horrible things. But to find some patience and some, I don't know, grace for people such as I who feel that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. It's not out of hatred. It's not out of. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point.
I mean, I've been patient with you for 25 minutes, right?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I came into this open-minded. I know this is supposed to be a debate, and you think debate, like we're trying to win debates here, but like really, I just want to come and like have a conversation. And I guess in that regard, if I've wasted your time, I'm sorry.
Nope. I just want you to recognize that you are placing an illogical expectation onto what must be man and woman, and hopefully now that you know that it's illogical, you'll think about it a bit more critically and move away from that position.
Maybe, just maybe. So when you you're saying the next time I see this man, identifying as a woman come across the street or pass me in
Well,
the street,
again, it's not a man identifying as a woman. It's a woman.
a male, let's say a male identifying as a woman, it's a woman. It's not a trans woman. Excuse me. Yeah, it's not a trans woman. You just want me to take the trans label out of it.
You can call trans people trans when you are comparing or contrasting them to cis people. But if you just see somebody in the street, there's no reason to highlight the fact that they're trans. Just call them what they are, which would be a woman or whatever they want you to call them.
What if it's a trans woman? Then why not just say that they're a trans woman? Is that literally like?
Because there's no reason to. If I see a random black woman on the street, I'm not going to point around and be like, "What's up, black woman?" No, because there's no reason to talk about that part of them unless they bring it up or we're comparing or contrasting it with something else.
Damn. Okay. But I don't know if you want to continue this conversation because I just kind of had a different thought. We say sex, male and female, and you say gender is supposed to be what these sexes identify at. All right, so if I'm a female and I feel that my gender identity is that of a man, that makes me a man. Why? Okay. What about, for instance, as a kid growing up, and I'm trying to, I'll go back to my analogy. I have a kid, and I'm trying to teach them what a man and a woman is, and how a man acts and how a woman acts, and that's the social construct right there, right? That's where we kind of break sex and gender.
What do you mean teaching your kid how a man acts and a woman acts? What would you be teaching them?
Is it that masculinity and femininity? Is it that what the whole point of gender, the difference between gender and what gender is and not?
No, there's no Joseph. There's no one way a man must act and one way a woman must act. Masculinity and femininity have been socialized to force us into this. If you have a daughter, for instance, and your daughter comes home and says, "Dad, I really want to play football," what are you gonna be like? No, fuck you. Don't play this game. I would encourage them. I'd say, okay, if this is something you really want to do, let's find a way for you to join the team. You want to play.
Sorry,
play.
I would not let my daughter play football because
why not?
She will be biologically outclassed or physically outclassed by
homie. I literally there was literally a girl on our football team in high school, and she was mowing down boys from the other teams. It's like if she thinks she's too weak, be like, okay, but you got to work out, got to up them gains so you can actually hold your own.
I'm sorry, I can't stand with you on this. This is where the gender thing kind of starts.
Yes, you want your daughters to be dainty little creatures who don't get into anything, and you want your boys to be manly, strong creatures, and you want your daughters to be what? I think it's just blatant misogyny to say my daughters can't do this because I think they're gonna what?
You're just assuming. Hold on. Do not throw me into this category because you're just assuming it's based off of misogyny. No, it's not that I want my daughters to act a certain way or my son to act a certain way. It's that there are biological differences. Okay, so for instance, as I said, I think it would be really irresponsible as a parent to tell my daughter that sure, you could play football with all the boys, knowing that the boys are going to be bigger, going to be stronger. And yeah, there are exceptions with some girls who are just biological exceptions. They're just bigger and stronger too. But I mean, overwhelmingly, come on, man. Boys are stronger, and it would be stupid for me to tell my daughter that she could play football. It would be irresponsible.
It wouldn't be, but thanks for calling, Joseph. That's our time. I hope you let your daughters do what they want to do in the future. Okay. I hit a wall. That was my wall. Joseph's call was my wall. Joseph's call. Yeah, sheep, you should probably chill out on that. Just saying. I had to read super chats, and then that's the end of stream. So let's go through our super chats. Mostly from sheep. First up is from Quantum Chaos. We read this one earlier, though. Jovan, you're a good human. I'm begging this hang up super chat for you to use whenever you feel like it. Just did. When you get saved with caller 20 minutes, call it a Christmas present or whatever. Yeah, I just did that. From Frost King, thank you for the super chat. Said birds have to be dinosaurs, dino nuggies. Nope. All dinosaurs are birds, but not all birds are dinosaurs. From Katie, said women aren't pizza bagels. Fuck caller, seriously. Oh yeah, that was crazy. That was kind of wild. Sheep said the difference between men and women is that men are from Mars and get cool cars and women are from Venus because it rhymes with penis. Humans are all different, and the idea of labeling them with zero deviation from the norm is misunderstanding of biology. In reality, every human is their own gender and sex, but humans desire simplicity. Humanity often claims itself to be the most intelligent creature in the universe, but that's simply a biased take. Then you have people like Kyle, whose existence proves humans aren't so intelligent. Goddamn, Sheep went in today. Mutate is a bit incorrect. It's more of a slow change caused by variations that make survival easier for humans. That's social intelligence and opposable thumbs. Preferred traits are also a factor. Sure. Calling it an opinion would be false as the statement is made regarding a grammatical fact. Even if the fact was disagreed upon, that would not make it an opinion. Also from Sheep, callers conflating gender with physics a lot. I don't think Kyle will ever get it. I think he's a lost cause. He also doesn't understand what an opinion is. He's not going to budge. True. Katie Ironfist said, another caller who's never watched The Minority Report. I'm getting hungry. I need lunch. From Sheep, thank you for all the super chats today. You can prevent a crime before it happens by catching someone planning to commit a crime or about to commit one, but never a group of people. Sure, but in most instances, the planning of committing a crime is also a crime. So, Sheep said, what do you mean don't accept known serial killers in your community? You're a leftist, aren't you? Yeah, no, I don't accept serial killers or PDF files, but apparently I should, according to that one caller. There's a documentary about a black man befriending the KKK at the KKK act publicly as we like this guy, but it's pretty clear they're using an idiot for publicity. Never seen it. Pronouns are for grammar. Yeah, so is your name. We asked that too. Crazy. Cancer is a living thing. I say we should go to cancer research centers to boycott surgeries because those tumors deserve rights. And denying an abortion also means you could be forcing a terrible life upon a child. This can cause more bad people to be born in the world as negative childhoods raise negative people. Yo, true. True. Oh, I forgot to end the call in studio. Sheep sent so much today. Jeez, Sheep. It's holiday time. Save your money, Sheep. They care about you until the moment you're born. Once you exit the womb, they don't give a shit about you until you turn 18 because that means you can join the army. George Carlin. Also, Sheep, it affects society. Most of those fetuses would have ended up in adoption hole where 1/3 of them would never get adopted and most of them would end up homeless drug addicts. I guess it does affect society. Kick. Also, I highly doubt TJ himself has ever made an effect on society, thus his argument is pointless. Shit. Shows an image of a fertilized egg. Behold a person. Shit. I just want to highlight this amazing chat comment I saw. Peter T. Now Sheep is sending super chats for other chats. Yo, Sheep, that's crazy. Sheep is sending super chats to highlight other people's chats. Yo, Sheep, that's wild. It's always funny when they argue the law values all life to the black guy. Yo, true. John simply doesn't understand the trans perspective of the matter. He's naive and puts too much trust in transphobes to be rational. I agree. John is assuming that cons are engaging. This is from Joshua. Thank you, Joshua, for the super chat. John is assuming that cons are engaging the conversation in good faith. They're not. They're looking for ways to logically justify their hate. Yeah. Sheep again. Where was it? John, they've tried that and were met with violence. You don't understand what trans person goes through to try and get a happy ending where everyone sings kumbaya is just naive futility. John, it's futile. If you truly want to change a bigot, you'd have to literally sever their online activity and completely rewire their way of thinking. It would take a Herculean effort. Pretty true. Glam Pixie, thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry you're not allowed to Twitch chat anymore. Maybe one day Twitch will not be an asshole to you. So the bigot playbook has always been to dehumanize marginalized people, black women, indigenous women, lesbians, all told they weren't real women. True. True. Some more from Sheep. Don't worry, John, you learn to give up when you talk to them and they glaze over. I did that even when talking about things like video games. I have people online for that instead. In fact, my stepdad thinks I'm into extremist ideologies because I said Muslims aren't violent and that making fun of dead people is okay. Well, true. Highly recommend watching Sacha Baron Cohen's Who is America if you want a good look at the stupidity of American bigotry. And Thick Thighs Save Lives. Puberty blockers save kids. No. Glam wasn't kicked out of Twitch chat by us. Twitch banned them for some reason. Like an improper ban. Like Twitch themselves. They got banned on Twitch. Liquid Ice said, if Jesus was the perfect man, do you think he was packing massive swing schmeat? Because I definitely pray on my knees for him then. Holy shit. Thank you for the super chat. Sheep, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Can't wait to get a mouthful. Goddamn. Kano said, who was the best Spider-Man? Andrew Garfield. Sheep, I can tell it's a dude, and it's probably a cis one with broad shoulders. Sapphic said, dumbass bro thinks people transition to become trans. You're going to need to use smaller words. And then Katie said, if you deny a person their identity in your mind, yet be nice to their face, you are not respecting them. I agree. Thank you guys for the super chats. Divinity's Dawn, thank you for becoming a tier 4 member. We're going to head off on YouTube, and then we're going to raid somebody on Twitch. So hang out on Twitch so you can be a part of the raid. Thank you, YouTube. Enjoy. Probably won't be on until tomorrow again. Oh, one more Venmo? Oh, heard. Most of my MAGA haircut clients tip me through Venmo. They don't know they are personally funding the tips to my favorite leftist streamer. Oh, that's funny. Thank you so much, Taylor. YouTube, I'll catch you later. Thanks for being here. Bye. W.